Thanks, Dom. First, I'd like to thank Minnesota State for being terrific hosts. Athletic Director Kevin Beisman, Sports Information Paul Allen, as always, first class down here, and we couldn't be more excited to have our inaugural CCHA championship game in Mankato this year. As we heard, it's just going to be a sellout tomorrow, which is exciting for the fans, but certainly the players and coaches to have a terrific environment to play in. For me, I go back about a year ago at this time, and we were just trying to put a staff together, and how far we've come in a calendar of 12 months. You know, for me, I was very fortunate to hire a terrific staff. First hire actually was Dominic Hennig with our communication and branding, and what he's been able to do in 12 months with our setting up all our social media, our website, redoing much of the TV for each individual campus has been nothing short of phenomenal, and the content he's been able to put out on the website. To Kevin Langseth, who came on board in June, had to put together a refereeing staff, linesmen, and he's done a terrific job as well. And then we're fortunate to have Dean Thibodeau continue on as our business, along with the women's WCHA, which really allowed for a seamless transition. And so we're fortunate you have to have a great staff. You know, going back to my coaching days, I always used to say that, you know, why hire people that don't know more than you? And in each of their areas, they certainly have educated me along the way, so I feel very fortunate. I think that when I look at this first year, it's the commitment level we've seen. You know, even President Inch is here from Minnesota State at our press conference that shows the commitment level and the follow through. You know, as we talked about over the course of the year, this league came about when 7 teams wanted to get together and try to compete at the highest level. They didn't want to be held back by anybody. So this group of 7 was strong. And then we walked into a great situation with the University of St. Thomas announcing they were going to be going Division I. So we had our 8th team coming into the year. And so we were very fortunate from that regard that we could start with an 8 team within our CCHA footprint. Beginning of the year, you know, the way the standings came about, pretty much almost to a T how the coaches picked it at the beginning of the year. Minnesota State to win 5 straight. McNaughton Cup is incredible. From year to year, different players, it just hasn't seemed to matter. They have set the standard, but there's nothing wrong with that because it forces everybody to chase that standard, and I think that is healthy. And we had a lot of exciting wins during this course of the first year, not only within obviously the battles we had within our conference, but there was a lot of big non-conference wins, starting with Minnesota State going out and sweeping the defending national champions, Northern Michigan sweeping UMD and Boston University, Colgate, Bemidji State, big win at North Dakota. We all know how difficult that is, and Lake State going to UNO, and go on with the quality of wins we had as a conference. As we went through and I look at the year, there was also some big moments. It was touched on Hockey Day in Minnesota, that having the opportunity to have University of St. Thomas and Minnesota State play in front of around 10,000 people, and the nice snowfall that was coming down. We couldn't have asked for anything better. The competitiveness throughout the league that we've seen from start to finish, I think was really evidence for me in the playoffs this year. Even University of St. Thomas, who we knew they're going to build their program, it's going to take some time, but here we are 5 minutes to go in a game on game 1, and it's tied 2-2. And then Ferris State, who really improved over the course of the year. Both games went into overtime with Michigan Tech. And then obviously the matchups at 3 and 6 with Bemidji State and Bowling Green went to game 3, and Northern Michigan and Lake Superior State was just an epic series that we were entertained to watch throughout. So there have been so many positive throughout the first year. And there'll be areas that we'll grow and we'll learn, but we feel very fortunate that what we've been able to accomplish in the first year of the CCHA, and obviously the game tomorrow, there's a lot riding on it. And when we're in a situation, it looks like we'll have 2 bids to the NCAA tournament. If Bemidji State does win the game tomorrow, that should get us a 3rd bid, and that's obviously been one of our goals. And I give Bemidji State a lot of credit because, as we know, it's not easy to win on the road in the playoffs. You go across the country, there's been very few teams that have advanced on the road. And interesting what Tom even said about, I mean, this is going to be their 4th elimination game they've played in a row, and they've been able to win the first 3. So it really should be an exciting game and a real showcase for college hockey. And you have 2 teams that were both in the NCAA quarterfinals. Obviously, Minnesota State advancing to the Frozen Four a year ago. So it isn't a surprise that they're both here standing as the last 2 teams playing in the CCHA. But again, credit to Michigan Tech, the year they've had to put themselves in the position to be in an NCAA tournament. So we really are excited about our first year and what we've been able to accomplish. And again, I'm so appreciative to everybody that's been involved, from our staff to the presidents and certainly the athletic directors that have, guided me throughout the year as a first-time commissioner. And I just feel very fortunate to work with the people that I work with.
Thank you, Don. At this time, we'll open it up to questions in the audience and those online. Schulze?
Top 10 nationally in scoring, and all the CCHA players in that list, plus all the Hopi Baker finals. How does that help the league going forward?
Well, I think it projects well. I know one of the things that when I heard from the coaches, as we were putting this together, that obviously they wanted to have a league that they could be proud of, that would attract recruits. That's why it was important what we did with our website and with our streaming, to try to make some improvements in those areas as we reach out to people, because we have a broad footprint, not only, geographically for where our teams are, from Bowling Green, Ohio, through Michigan, UP, and Minnesota, but a broad-based recruiting area where you're recruiting, whether it's Europe or, all across Canada, the Michigan, USHL, North America, and all those footprints, that when a recruit gets on the website, that they see something that looks good, that looks classy. When they watch a game on stream, that it's like it's a first class. And that's one of the things that even struck me when I started watching a year ago, the quality of the broadcast, how good it was. And I think that's something that when you reach out, because whether it's for recruits, whether it's for local fans, or whether alums as they graduate from our institutions and go on around the U.S. or Canada, that's their connection. They can reach back into their alma mater, and I do think that's important. So, we've made an effort that it looks good, that it looks first class. From even what we did and Dom did with the announcement of our all league teams, that how well that looked when you announce those things online and Twitter feeds, and I mean even little things. I mean, Dom's educated me a lot about even how recruits get announced and packed buildings and all that. But really it comes down to, you can do all that, but it still comes down to the individual teams, the coaches, and we're really blessed that we have a great group of coaches, a group of veteran coaches that compete, but they really respect each other. And from day one, all I've heard is, we're all in. All I've heard is, what can we do to help the league and help you? And I think that's a great start that we had this year.
Shane?
Shane Frederick. Don, what's it been like this season for you to take your coaching cap off and watch as a neutral third-party observer?
Well, it's been a lot more relaxing on a Friday night after a game, I can tell you that. Not sitting up at 2 a.m. wondering what happened, why you won a game or you lost a game. And I remember walking into one coach who had a tough loss on a Saturday morning. He goes, "Do you miss it?" I said, I don't miss a difficult loss. You're fighting for home ice, and you don't sleep. It takes a toll. It's a lot of work. It's been enjoyable for me to be able to go visit with coaches before a game, respectfully of their time, because I know what they're going through. It's been enjoyable to reach out to coaches after maybe they got swept in a weekend, or text them on their way home from a big win, because I know how much that means to them. So I think I understand. I think I can relate to what they're going through. So it's been rewarding. It's been rewarding to get educated, the importance of a nice white net, no puck marks on the back wall. You know, these are things Dom was talking to me about that, I mean, when I watched the game, looked at it completely different, and now I guess I'm starting to learn to watch the game in a new way, and that part of it's been enjoyable. I've spent a lot more time maybe watching officiating and all that, as Kevin and I worked together throughout this year, and we know the importance of how that was going to be, but it's just been enjoyable. The relationships have been enjoyable, the phone calls during the week. Yeah, there's times throughout the year you get the call and, you know, wanting an explanation about, you know, what happened, what we can do to get better, and, you know, sometimes you agree to disagree. I said, at the end of the year, I think I did a good job because I think every coach was mad at me at some point during the course of the season, so there was certainly no favoritisms at all, but they're respectful, and they get it. Sometimes we can agree to disagree, but I think my background has helped that they know that I've been in their shoes, and I think that part of it's been helpful, and you have to listen. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. I need to be educated, and, you know, we've got smart coaches. We've got great ADs and have a lot of really good ideas, and what we've tried to do is listen and implement a lot of their ideas, and because we all want the same thing. We want this league to be the best it possibly can.
We'll go to Zoom. A few questions coming in for you here, Don. Start with Dave Ellis.
Hey, Don, thanks for doing the press conference. I asked you in the preseason, and I'm curious to see if the answer has changed. What are other people around hockey, not in the league, asking you about the CCHA now?
Well, I don't know if there's any one thing that they're asking. I think one of the things that's been beneficial even for me from the standpoint of I had the opportunity to work with the officials group as we try to improve officiating. So I've been with the officials and all the supervisors. I think that's been a real positive. We've had a lot of good positive feedback on our website, the content, and again, that's a real credit to Dom and what he puts out and the amount of time he is involved in with our highlight packages and what he's been able to do. So there's been a lot of, I've heard a lot of positive response from that end of it. I think from my standpoint, again, I really enjoyed working with the commissioners. Last year I wasn't involved in any of those calls, but as we look to set policy throughout the course of the season on our calls that we have every 2 weeks, how closely the commissioners work together. And as we get to the end, Dave, we'll get to our meetings in the spring, and, you know, we'll have our own self-evaluation, and we'll talk to the coaches, we'll talk to the athletic directors and the presidents about what went well, what we can do better, and try to improve this league and improve the profile. The best sales people we have within our league is success. You know, right now we have the #1 team in the country. That's healthy. We have, looks like Michigan Tech is going to be in the NCAA tournament. We had a lot of success non-conference. If Bemidji State can win the game tomorrow, we'll have another team in the NCAA tournament. And when those teams go on and have success, like a year ago with, you know, Bemidji State knocking off Wisconsin and Minnesota State beating Quinnipiac and Minnesota on the way to the Frozen Four, that's the best thing you can have for your league, is that success not only within your league, but success out of league during the regular season and certainly come NCAA tournament time. And the attendance, I think, was really good this year. I know for me personally, to get into every rink before Christmas time and to see the attendance, see some of the rivalries. I'd never been to a Tech Northern rivalry before. That was really enjoyable from my standpoint. And certainly we're going to see that tomorrow with Bemidji State and Minnesota State, Mankato, longtime rivals. And, you know, and I do think about that. I do think back to where these programs have come from in the last 30 years. I envision that for University of St. Thomas. I'm at the game, you know, at St. Thomas Academy, and that's what came to my mind. I'm sitting there, and as they begin their program, I can't help but think back of, you know, bringing a Minnesota team into John Glass Fieldhouse for the first Division I game at Bemidji State, and they asked me to, that was out of respect for, you know, Bob Peters and Tom and what their program has meant, but playing games at the MAC when I was coaching in Alaska, or excuse me, at All Seasons Arena here in Mankato when I was coaching too, back at the Division II, and just to see where they've come. And that's the beauty of college hockey. You don't have to be a BCS team to have a quality and an outstanding college hockey program. What I have enjoyed as much as anything with this group is that every one of these schools, their Division I hockey program is number one on campus. And it's funded that way, the commitment level's that way, and that's why they've had as much success as they've had. I mean, go throughout, almost every team in the league has won national titles in their history. Bemidji State, newly Division I, but they've been to a Frozen Four before. And that's why it's been really enjoyable to be with this group.
Next up, Jess.
Hi, Don. Jess Myers from the Rink Live. You mentioned the geographic footprint of the CCHA, and I know you're not even a year into your existence as an 8-team league, but you're going to have a couple of new neighbors in Augustana, and it sounds like Lindenwood is going to make an announcement. How is the process for considering expansion, and what kind of conversations have you had along those lines at this point?
Well, I think we'll always have ongoing conversations that what we are going to do for the CCHA and college hockey in general. It's a broader conversation we always have with all 6 conferences, that as teams emerge, can we find a home for them? Because we all want to grow our game as much as we possibly can. We've got the Mason Cup sitting over here to honor Ron Mason, and there was no better proponent of expansion and inclusion than certainly Ron was as a coach, longtime coach at Lake State and Bowling Green and Michigan State. So, I've been on both sides, starting my days up in Alaska. We've seen programs come and go. The most important thing as we evaluate, and certainly in myself, is that do they have the commitment level? That's number one. I think it's really important that if a team wants to be a part of this league, that they have to have that institutional commitment. They're going to have first-class facilities. They're going to have to fund it, and it can't be, the empty promises. Obviously, we had that confidence level in University of St. Thomas, in their athletic director, Phil Eston, and President Sullivan. They have their commitment not only in hockey, but, moving and elevating up to Division I. So if we're going to expand, we want somebody that's certainly going to be in our footprint. We're aware that we do have, western side of the CCHA and an eastern side of the CCHA. So those are decisions that are made by athletic directors and presidents, and I'm sure that as we move forward, we'll continue to have those discussions to see if a team or teams fit what we're trying to do within our league and within our footprint and has that same commitment level. But, there's other leagues involved that certainly have the same opportunity to expand, and especially when you look in the West, some of those are the conversations that we have. But we feel very good about where we're at right now with our 8. If a team is going to make us better, then certainly we will look at that. But we're very comfortable with the 8 teams that we have at this time.
Probably time for one more. Jess?
Don, I have to ask, Bob Motzko needs to win, I think, 3 more Big Ten titles to equal you, but do you pay attention at all to what's going on in Minneapolis and the success his program has had this year?
Oh, for sure. I mean, Bob and I go back many, many years. It's kind of funny how the little fraternity of coaches here in Minnesota, you kind of grow up with each other, a lot of us small-town guys, and so Bob and I, quite frankly, we talk just about every week. And we've had 2 conversations this week, to be honest. And I had a night off, so I was at their championship game, or not championship, but when they beat Wisconsin for the Big Ten title, I was there, popped down before the game, excited, and happy for him, and happy for their program. Obviously, I have a lot of good friends that are there, and as long as they're not going up against a CCHA team this year, I wish them all the luck, and as they play Michigan here for the Big Ten title. And here we have the CCHA championship going on in Mankato with a sellout, and the NCHC is in St. Paul, so we're kind of the epicenter of college hockey in the West this weekend, which is great. And there's room for everybody. I know there was a lot of angst when leagues broke up, but now when you look at things, that the success a lot of these programs have had from a separately, that sounds like Minnesota's going to sell out on tomorrow night, and we're going to have a sellout here tomorrow night, that there's been a lot of success to go around, and I think that's good. And Tom mentioned that, last year there was 5 teams in and from this state, and if Bemidji wins, there'll be 5 teams again, much like in Michigan, the pride that goes on when they have success, or you go on the East Coast, the pride you have in your region. But, for me, it's not provincial. I want all of our teams to do well, and that's what's been enjoyable for me this year during the course of the year, to get into the other ranks and see the success and see the commitment level that they have, and the passion that they have with their fan base. So it's been good, but obviously happy for Bob. He's one of my best friends, and we work together, and we've had a lot of phone calls over the years, and especially this year, as you can imagine.
Okay, that's going to wrap up our Mason Cup Championship Game Preview Press Conference. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Central, in front of a sold-out crowd here in Mankato. Don, thank you so much, and thank you for everyone being with us today.
Thank you.